I still remember when my partner and I first started dating. In one of our questions back and forth, I told him that I was not an emotional person. About 2 to 3 months later, there was a moment when he looked at me and said, I think you're actually more emotional than you think you are. I remember being kind of upset. I thought, me? Emotional? Who are you to say what I am? But after this past year, I've come to realize that maybe he was a little right. I've been working on custom furniture for the past 12 months. And before that, I was in Chicago working in different business for about 6 months. If you include the amount of time we spent into moving from Chicago to Houston and setting up the wood shop, I have spent the better part of 2 years doing nothing but trying to make a business work. These 2 years taught me an important aspect of myself. I am not a business person. I am an artist, a sculptor, someone who has a need to express the ideas and concepts floating around in my mind. Making things only for other people, just to make enough to get by, crushed me. And after the last 3 and most lucrative months of my business career, I found my motivation at the lowest it had ever been in my entire life. I didn't even know it at first. I'd finished those projects up and took a month-long vacation in Korea. You would think that after a break like that, you'd be recharged and ready to go again. But that wasn't how it was for me. When I stepped back into the garage, I was immediately drained. I'd throw tantrums and say that I wanted to do this or that instead of work. And whenever I started working, I'd just be depressed. I couldn't bring myself to woodwork, and I couldn't communicate what I was feeling. In fact, I didn't even know what I was feeling. I just stared out the window and did my best to avoid thinking about anything. On one of those window staring days, my partner pulled up a chair and sat down next to me. He said, "Hey, I know you want space, but I can't help but feel like you have something, I don't know, heavy on your chest. And I know you don't know what it is, but I think we gotta just sit down and try our best to figure it out." We talked about random things at first. At this point, I can't even remember what they were. Eventually, though, we were talking about our values and what motivates us to get ourselves going. And it was at this point of the conversation that I realized just how important it was for me to make my own pieces, to make my own art. And as I was coming to this realization, he very firmly told me, "I don't care about the projects. I don't care if we never make another sale. What I care about is you. I care that you are happy and are proud of what you're doing." And as he continued, I broke down. On one hand, it felt like I'd failed. And on the other hand, I appreciated what he said so much that I was overwhelmed. To keep my spirit up, to keep my fire burning, I need to make my own pieces. I need to create my own art. I do love making furniture for other people, but I need the space to feed my own flame too, to challenge myself the way that I want to, with no limitations and no boundaries. I found that only by feeding that fire within me will I truly have the room to create for others as well. Hello and welcome to the after show hangout session. This particular episode was especially difficult to make because it was a moment that was very meaningful for me. I don't know if you heard it in my voice or not, but I did actually break down several times trying to record this episode. I think at one point my voice probably started to sound really stuffy because I was blowing my nose like crazy. Judging by what I went through, I don't think I've ever felt a true burnout in my life until that moment. And overall, I feel like I handled it pretty poorly. If I were to give any advice for anyone going through similar things, it'd be to first and foremost make sure you communicate your feelings, especially with the people you care about and know you logically can be transparent with. The reason I say logically is because at that stage, I'm pretty sure I couldn't think logically at all. All of my thoughts were very emotional, but logically, I know that I can talk with my partner. So the more transparent you are, the better I think it is for your loved ones around you. And second, if you are going through a burnout, jump back into whatever you need to do with baby steps. Once I was burned out, I don't think anything in the world could have convinced me to stay in the shop for more than I wanted to. The only thing that worked in getting me back into the shop was going just a few minutes at a time, and as I got comfortable, slowly building up from there. And yeah, that is probably it for strategies for me. If you have any thoughts or strategies that you've used for burnouts, please do comment below with them, because not only will I be reading through them, but you never know when something you add could potentially help someone else too. I also want to thank you all for your support during that time. I wasn't posting a lot, but when I did post, I did feel the positivity coming from you. And honestly, that was a big part of what got me to take those baby steps. So thank you. Last but not least, I wanted to give a shout out to my newest Patreon members, Steve and Bill. Thank you both very much. My partner and I have been putting in a lot of time recently to revamp and improve our Patreon system, so if you too are interested in supporting my channel for as little as a cup of coffee, you too can contribute and help this channel grow. Thank you all again, happy woodworking, and peace out.